During World War II, the most destructive weapon was the atomic bomb. The United States dropped 2 missiles on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. The first little boy directly killed about 140,000 people. The second fat man directly caused about 70,000 deaths. How could a small atom cause so much damage? How did nuclear weapons make their way to the battlefield step by step? In 1896, Becquerel in Paris accidentally discovered that uranium salts spontaneously emit radiation, thus discovering radioactivity. The door to nuclear physics research was opened. In 1905, Einstein proposed the mass-energy equation E equals mc, theoretically revealed the tremendous energy contained in tiny masses. In 1919, Rutherford achieved the first artificial nuclear reaction with alpha coefficient particles and turned nitrogen into oxygen. In 1932, it was a miracle year for nuclear physics. Chadwick discovered the neutron. These uncharged particles make ideal cannonballs for bombarding atomic nuclei. Irene and Frederick Joliot-Curie discovered artificial radioactivity, which meant that new radioactive elements could be made. In 1934, Fermi bombarded uranium with neutrons. You get what looks like a heavier transuranic element, but the German female chemist Noddack questioned it. It might be that uranium nuclei split into lighter elements. This genius prediction was not taken seriously at the time. At the end of 1938, German scientists Hahn and Strassmann repeated Fermi's experiment. Shocking discovery after precise chemical analysis. The product contains barium, which is much lighter than uranium. The nucleus really split. In early 1939, after the Austrian physicist Meitner, who was exiled in Sweden due to the Nazi persecution, learned the result. She collaborated with her nephew, Fritsch. Based on Bohr's droplet model, they gave a correct physical explanation and named it fission with biological vocabulary. They estimated that each fission releases about 200 MeV of energy, almost simultaneously. The possibility of a chain reaction was proposed. Each fission releases 2 to 3 neutrons. If it can continue to trigger fission, an avalanche of energy release will occur. This means that a weapon of unprecedented power is theoretically possible. In 1939, scientists in exile in the United States have realized a terrifying possibility. Nazi Germany might be the first to build an atomic bomb, with the push of physicist Szilard. The letter signed by Einstein was presented to President Roosevelt, warning of the danger of Germany developing the atomic bomb, urging the U.S. to accelerate research. At first, the U.S. government was slow to respond. The first allocation was only $6,000. Until December 6, 1941, the day before the Pearl Harbor incident, it was officially approved for full-scale development. The next day, the Pacific War broke out. The plan was fully accelerated. In August 1942, the United States launched an atomic bomb development program codenamed the Manhattan Project. General Groves of the Army Corps of Engineers was fully responsible, and physicist Oppenheimer led the core research. The entire project cost over $2 billion. On December 2, 1942, and mobilized over 100,000 people. Fermi built the world's first nuclear reactor at the University of Chicago, achieving the first controlled self-sustaining chain reaction, paving the way for the production of plutonium fuel. Scientists explored 2 types of nuclear fuel simultaneously. Uranium-235 is purified for little boys. Plutonium-239 production for fat man. At 5:29 a.m. on July 16, 1945, the first atomic bomb was successfully tested in New Mexico, with an equivalent of about 20,000 tons TNT, marking the beginning of the atomic age. On August 6, 1945, little boy was dropped on Hiroshima, with an equivalent of about 12,500 tons, causing about 140,000 deaths. On August 9th, fat man was dropped on Nagasaki, with an equivalent of 22,000 tons TNT, causing about 70,000 deaths. The 2 atomic bombs accelerated Japan's surrender, and also opened the era of human survival under the nuclear shadow. After the war, the number of members of the nuclear club increased. In 1949, the Soviet Union broke the US nuclear monopoly. In 1952, the UK. In 1960, France. On October 16, 1964, China successfully detonated its first atomic bomb in Lop-Ner, Xinjiang, became the fifth nuclear country, and solemnly declare that there will be no first use of nuclear weapons at any time and under any circumstances. The explosion of the atomic bomb inflicted an indelible moral wound on scientists. Einstein once regretted in his later years that, "The biggest mistake in my life was signing the letter to President Roosevelt. If I had known the Germans would not succeed, I would never have signed that letter." I hope we will always remember the lessons of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Let science truly serve the peace and progress of mankind.